Big Kel
Big Kel
and Kahuna
and Kahuna
podcast.
podcast. Mwah. For sure.
Hey,
All right. Welcome back. We are in episode 5 of Big Kel and Kahuna. Again, I'm Kelly.
And I'm Alec, and we're halfway to double digits.
Yeah, and that's something. Still can't find a guest.
Well, let's start with the little things. Let's just hope it records and uploads as well as last episode, and not the first episode 4 attempt.
Okay. And we'll make sure we do that. I'm going to get this just a little closer. You do say I'm too close to the mic or I'm too loud, so.
Well, if you talk at that volume, you're fine. But halfway through the thing, you start talking like, this is my favorite wrestler. You get so emboldened
I get
with passion.
emboldened. Okay, well, we'll go from that. So, recap from last episode. The only thing is we still get friends commenting us about Formula One.
My friend says he really enjoys that Drive to Survive show.
Good. I think, there's something there. And I think that one of the things we talk about in the book is that you should let yourself be amazed at what happens. Some of the folks in the Olympics, any type of athlete or challenges. I saw that one guy, he's a free climber. He climbed,
Alex
El
Honnold.
Capitan.
He climbed El Cap.
In like 13 minutes or something stupid like
something
that.
Crazy. I think it was an hour and a half.
Hour and a half?
Just how high it was.
He did some free climb up something that usually takes people an hour or two. Bless you. And he did it in like 13 minutes. So
It's funny. He was passing someone during the filming of the documentary, all hooked up, and they're like, "What the heck is this guy doing?"
The thing I saw on him, they were talking about brain health and how your brain works.
I know this. What you're about to say.
And your it's not the medulla oblongata, which is from Bobby
I think
Boucher.
your amygdala.
Your amygdala is where you have fear, and they said he has almost zero activity in that.
Yeah, isn't that
so
nuts?
he's fearless.
Yeah.
My heart flutters when I see him
I
do that.
don't like that stuff.
And when I see people sleeping on a hammock hanging off the side of a mountain.
I just saw this couple that was sleeping on hammocks halfway up the side of El Cap, the same mountain.
Ain't no way, man.
And they're swaying in the breeze. No, thank you. I get anxious enough on a hammock on the beach.
Dude, I rolled off a bunk bed one time when I was a kid. And then I had to put barriers up. I couldn't imagine rolling off of that. That's crazy.
Can you imagine waking up from a dream halfway through a free fall? You're like, oh, it's such a good.
Or not realizing where you are and then getting up to like go piss.
Yeah.
And then you're done.
You got to stress and you just fall off the cliffside.
I'd end up doing something like that. So that's what we got. All right, so we're in current affairs. As we're recording this, we're running a little bit late today, and the Houston and Houston Texans and the Kansas City Chiefs are playing right now, and it looks like Kansas City's well on their way to win that.
Other current affairs. Tomorrow's MLK Day, which means Trump's getting inaugurated.
That's Sunday.
Monday.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Monday.
tomorrow's Sunday. Monday the 20th is the inauguration day and Martin Luther King Jr. Day. My buddy got me a ticket to the inauguration.
Right.
But because it's going to be 11 degrees and there was a non-material credible threat against Trump, they moved it inside, I believe, the Capitol. So I won't be able to see it.
But they did say the Capital One Arena, which is in Tysons, which is like 20 minutes away, they're going to do something on Monday.
No, so he was already having a rally, I believe, on Sunday at the Capital One Arena in D.C.
Oh, in D.C.
The one in Tysons, that's the Capital One Music Hall.
Oh, Music Hall. Okay, then we got the things wrong. Oh, well. Well, we wish them luck. And they said the last time this happened was 40 years ago.
It was Reagan, right?
When Reagan's second term, which in 1984. So I'm sure President Trump, President-elect, will do some reference there. And you know what? He could be the modern-day Reagan or somebody totally different. I think he's unique. I've never seen nobody like him. So we'll see how that shakes out.
Yeah, you train for politics your whole life. You're just a nerd. And then you go up against Trump and he goes, Ted's got a dog wife. Your wife looks like a dog, Ted.
Yeah.
What? How do you? And everyone's like, "Oh, you can do that."
Yeah, he's very bombastic, but to be able to do that, you got to have the right personality type.
Who's the guy with the weird hair? He was like, "I could have made fun of you. Believe me, there's a lot of material there."
No, I don't remember who that is. So, all right, so we'll go forward right now, and we'll just hit the chapters in the book, the first two ones we want to cover today is chapter 19, which is discipline and regularity. I was listening, as you well know, you turned me on to him. I heard him a long time ago when I was probably 12, but I didn't recall who he was. But you remember voices of people, right? But that's Alan Watts.
Yeah.
He talks about Taoism and,
Buddhism.
well, Taoism.
Yeah, a little bit of Shintoism too.
Yeah.
Can I give a background on him? Because I love Alan
go ahead,
Watts.
go
I
ahead.
could spend a whole podcast talking about Alan Watts. So Alan Watts is a philosopher from America,
No, British.
British, whatever.
Originally, and he moved to Big Sur in California in the early 70s, late 60s.
But so he was a Christian from the West who went to the East to study old Eastern traditions and
Taoism,
religion, Taoism, Buddhism,
Confucianism.
Hinduism, Confucianism. And he brought it back to the West and he blended it with Christianity. Because a lot of people think that those two things can't go together. But there is a big argument out there that Buddha isn't a god.
No, he's not.
So I don't believe he is. Some Buddhists think he is. He's just a...
I thought he achieved enlightenment.
He
He
achieved
was a normal man
Buddhahood.
who
He
achieved
was
enlightenment.
Well,
Well,
Siddhartha Gautama or whatever. He was a prince who just sat under a tree and
Well, the beauty of Alan Watts, Alec, is that he's Christian, but what he says is this methodology and how you live is complementary.
yeah. So he basically says you can use Buddhism for your day to day, while still being holistically, overarchingly Christian.
Well, one of the things he talked about, which was interesting, and he said that if you're in Taoism and you're trying to find your way, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to find the way. And he said you got to be careful because you can't. And everybody, a lot of people say this. A lot of motivational speakers say it today is that you cannot announce to everybody what your plans are.
Yeah.
Because people will sabotage you. You'll sabotage yourself. So here's the analogy he used. Say, you realize you drink too much. He said anything, but the example he used was drinking. He said, realize you drink too much, and you go, you know what? My New Year's resolution is I'm not going to drink for a year. And he says the problem when you do that is that the devil gets to your mind, and the devil starts talking to you. And it's like, you really want to go 365 days? That's just so long.
Yeah, the devil comes to you in the form of self-doubt.
Yeah, and an analogy he uses that you're usually done 3-4 days in. So he said the better way to do it is...
Week by week, probably.
No, he said just each day. And just say, listen, I'm not going to drink today, maybe tomorrow, but we'll talk about that then. Tomorrow comes, you go, I'm not going to drink today, maybe tomorrow. He says better yet, though, is when you act without thinking, which in essence is habit. So then you go to a guy like Jocko. Jocko's got habit. Goggins has habit. They just do. They're
Stay
up
hard.
at the same time. They lift. They exercise. They get in a routine. They don't have to think about it. And because you're not thinking about it, there's no reason not to do
Goggins...
it. Because if you're not thinking, you can't get corrupted. And the other part is you can't fall for the outside influences, and your mind can't betray you.
Goggins, it took him 3 attempts at buds to get into the SEALs.
Yeah.
And I think during the last attempt, he finished with fractured shins.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, I've seen stories about him like running 250 miles in 39 hours.
He's a lunatic.
And his feet bust open. But the guy's got motivation and drive. So that's the intent in chapter 19 is you got to get to a point where you get some discipline and regularity. And Alan Watts' commentary is just do it every day, and then before you're not even thinking, eventually you won't even be thinking about doing it, and it just becomes a reaction. And then that's when you're golden.
Alan Watts videos are a good thing to fall asleep to as well.
Yeah. Listen, if you guys just want to listen to something, just check out Alan Watts, and it's worth at least the first half hour to an hour investment. And I guarantee you, if he's your kind of guy, you'll be locked in.
It's spelled British though. It's AlanWatts.
Yeah, Watts is the same. All right, and then the next one is chapter 27, and it's basically pay yourself first. So decide what you want to do, right? If you end up, you have to make the difference between what you need, like the Stones song, right? Can't always have what you want, but if you try sometime, you get what you need.
There's also, I think it's Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yeah, you just have to decide what you want to do. We talked about it in the book. You could have a 30-30-40, whatever it may be. But I told you last week, the richest man in Babylon, and that phrase is pay yourself first. So the first 10% of your pay yourself. You need a tithe, that's fine. Not everybody does that, but pay yourself first. Some people pay, the Lord first, and then they pay themselves first, and then they worry about the rest. But don't get to the point where you're 40 and you haven't started saving.
Yeah.
So that's the whole intent.
No one enjoys working, and if you save now, especially at around my age, you won't have to work in your 60s most likely, or past 62.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. But you have to start early.
Yeah.
If you start early and you're just disciplined enough, you don't have to do a shitload. It's just like $250 every month. You do that for 10 years. I mean,
It's
Tony
called
Robbins did something.
The beauty of compound interest.
Yeah, Tony Robbins brought that up one time, and it's, if you follow his scenario, you're basically putting in $45,000. You wait 30 years and you got like 1.4 million, and it only costs you 45,000 to put in. But you got to get in early. You wait 10 years later, you're going to have to put in like 350,000. So you young fellas and ladies, if anyone's watching, the sooner you start, the better off you are. Okay, now with that, tonight is, I got to pull my phone out for this because I can't say the names.
I'll do the same.
I know who the dudes are, but tonight is USC 311, right?
You should hear him try and pronounce some of these Dagestani names.
So there's some good folks on the card. So, the undercard, I don't know most of these people. I don't think I know any of them on the undercard before the pay-per-view starts. I'm looking at them now, and I don't know a single one. But, you got the Americans, the Brazilians. Ooh, they got a Brazilian and an Argentinian gal fight.
Early prelims, I don't know anybody.
Yeah, but we get to
prelims,
the
I don't
first
know anybody.
The first pay-per-view undercard is Kevin Holland and some French cat named Renier de Ritter. Holland's the underdog, but I'm going to take Holland because you never know.
You never know with him. He's a bulldog.
Yeah, he could get it done. The other cat's 18-2 though, and he's the favorite, but you never know. And then this one, Alec, I don't even know who is Gelton Alameda.
I don't know him.
Yeah, he's 21-3 from Brazil.
Sergej Spivak.
Yeah, I don't know who that is either. But I'm going to go with a Brazilian. When in doubt, go with a Brazilian. Right? If the odds are in your favor, you go with him. That gets us killed every once in a while. And then the next one, this is going to be interesting. Yuri Prohaska. How do you say Yuri's last name?
Yuri Prohaska.
Prohaska. And then Jamal Hill.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take...
Sweet Dreams.
Yeah. You know what? Yuri should probably do it, but I'm going to take Hill.
I will take Yuri then.
He's actually the favorite, but I'm going to take Hill. All right. And then the first championship match is now is Umar Nurmagomedov, is he a cousin or a brother?
Umar Nurmagomedov? I don't know. He's definitely related to him.
Okay. But he's a Dagestani, and I don't like, and he's 18-0, and he's fighting Merab Devalalishi or something.
Don't even try.
The dude from Georgia. He's 18-4, but I'm going to take the Dagestani, Umar. And then Islam's fight, I won't even say his last name.
Islam Makhachev.
Yeah. So the main guy he was supposed to fight fell out. They put a replacement in.
Yeah.
Do you know he's a minus 1,800 favorite?
No.
So it looks like he's going to roll.
Yeah.
But
for fun, you can always bet $1 on the other guy.
No, what you do is you do like a weird parlay that he wins by knockout in a round and put $2 down, and you could win like 5,000. So as soon as I put more money in my FanDuel account, because it's sucking me dry, I haven't won anything in a while.
I like how Khabib approaches that training camp in Dagestan. I don't like DC, but DC was asking him, "Oh, can you train my sons for a couple of weeks to make them good?"
They said, no, leave them 3 months.
Not in America. Leave in Dagestan 6 months. They come back the
they
best.
go, I'm not leaving my kids with you for 6 months. You're crazy.
You tell me they're going to eat beetles and make rocks?
Yeah. Well, I was watching an interview with him, and they were, DC was asking Islam, that on that, first off, he was giving, what's his name, shit for being on the Frontier flight.
Who was on Frontier?
Was he Spirit? Khabib got kicked off the plane.
Oh, yeah. What happened with that?
So he was in the exit row, and the flight attendant started saying stuff, and he was just questioning her. But I think it's because of his accent and his stoicism.
They thought he was a terrorist?
Yeah, or I don't know what it was. I don't want to get sued. I don't know what it was. It's in the news. Take a look at it.
Or if he's in the exit row, maybe he denied doing the security things or the evacuation procedures.
Everything I read was he wasn't at fault.
He was profiled?
But everybody gave him shit for... I don't know, it was Spirit or Front. No, it was Alaskan Airlines?
I think it was Frontier.
Frontier. Yeah, it was Frontier.
That
Everybody
is
thought it
the
was last-
cheapest piecemeal airline ever.
Oh, Spirit.
Spirit's cheaper
Spirit's
than
worse
Frontier.
than Frontier, yeah.
Oh.
But the bottom line is, so DC's talking to Islam about it, and he says, that's exactly the wrong person you wanted, because he'd be perfect and orderly to get everybody out. And then DC,
Let's go, brother. Let's go.
And then DC goes, I could do it, and Islam goes, you're too fat. He goes, you couldn't open. He goes, opening the door's easy. He goes, yeah, but you're too fat.
No one will be able to get
Nobody
around
can
you.
get by you. He goes, not gonna get by me. I'm the first one out the door. And they said to Islam, he goes to Islam, what would you be? He goes, I'd be last, DC. And that was funny. I love it.
Those guys, they look a smidge inbred, but it adds to their stoicism.
Well, you say that, but look, I'll be honest and tell you, they all have the same haircut and they all have the same beard.
That stupid beard
So
with
they
no
all
mustache.
kind of look the same, and I'm not sure they are, but if they all got the same dark, got brown eyes, brown hair, they're like the Julius Caesar haircut. And then the bushy beard, and then the other cat you like, who's got the cleft lip, but that doesn't have. He has
Hamza
got
Shamayev?
Yeah, Hamza. He's got like the.
Well, all of them have those Muslim beards without the mustache.
Oh, without the mustache?
But you see how Islam looks at people?
Yeah, he looks like he's stoned, man.
His eyes aren't looking in the same direction.
But you like that the new cat coming up, the redheaded guy from Dagestan with the glass eye.
one-eyed, yeah, he can't fight.
He can't fight in the U.S.
No.
Yeah, so he's got to fight everywhere else. He's ranked and all that, but he can't fight in the U.S. He'll never pass.
I think he's fighting in Saudi Arabia next or UAE.
Yep. So listen, if you guys want to enjoy yourself, watch that tonight. All right. So the playoffs are on. We'll give our quick
Playoffs?
Playoffs, yeah. We'll give our quick picks for the NFL. So the Chiefs are on. We both got the Chiefs. The Redskins play the Lions tonight. I'm taking the Skins in the upset. I have to. I'm a homer.
Same.
And then
you can't bet against your own
no.
team.
And then we have
Unless money's involved.
Now this is I think the best game of the week is Sunday, and that is the Ravens and the Bills. Because the question is I was watching PTI with Kornheiser and those guys and Wilbon, and they were trying to figure out who and all the sports talk shows, who has more to prove.
Hold on, I got to get the cat off
and
the
I
table.
think both of them do, because Indiana. Oh, that's it. Henry Jones. That's Indiana's name, is Henry.
Oh.
So that was a recap from the beginning. I'm only taking the Bills because they're at home. And that's dangerous.
Their fans are nuts.
Yeah, that's a great place to play. Well, Baltimore's a great place to play, too. And that's what I love, great fan bases, because they can bring a team along. So we'll do that. And then it's the Eagles and the Rams. It's got to be the Eagles. If it's not the Eagles, then there's a problem.
Do they both have full rosters, or is anybody hurt?
Eagles got a full roster. Rams have a full roster. But Eagles should be able to beat them. But we'll see what they do. Okay. So
I hope the Eagles don't beat them. I don't like the Eagles. I don't like the Cowboys. The Giants suck too much to even matter in my head.
yeah, they just have a hard time with the GM and coaches. And
Yeah.
And whoever hired Daniel Jones on a $20 million a year contract should be fired. I can't believe they had so much trouble with him, and then they actually extended him and gave him a multi-year guaranteed big, heavy contract in the $20 million a year for a quarterback who's average at best. And that's why, look, Giants fans, that's why your team sucks. Your GM sucks. Your coach, I think, is pretty good. You don't have enough talent because the GM hasn't stocked it, and your quarterback's god-awful terrible.
I guess they.
I don't know who's worse, the Jets or the Giants. I guess the Jets will say they are because they're long-standing losers,
I guess
which is unfortunate.
I guess they abide by a principle: the devil you know is better than the one you don't. With the
Yeah, but
quarterback.
that doesn't get you a championship.
No.
So, yeah, they're also Rams. They're mid-pack. They're not even mid-pack. They're on the bottom.
Have the Jets ever won a Super Bowl?
Yeah, with Joe Namath, but that was Super Bowl III back in like 1969 or something. That was a great upset too.
Were the Browns the one that has never won?
No, Browns never won.
Okay.
Yeah, no. Well, a lot of teams haven't won, but the Browns haven't even got there.
Yeah.
That's a difference. And if you ever watch, for younger guys, you don't know this, go on YouTube and put in John Elway, The Drive. because it was an AFC championship game. They were in Cleveland. Cleveland took the lead. It was a 2-minute drill. He took them from the 5-yard line all the way in and scored. And Cleveland never been the same since.
Yeah.
Because they had a great team with Schottenheimer and Bernie Kosar and Kevin Mack and Ernest Biner, who came to the Redskins, Ozzie Newsome, one of the prototypical tight ends from that time. And after they gave that up, they just turned to dog shit. Now, I know Browns fans are historically loyal, just like I guess the Ravens and the Bengals and the Steelers. It's nice, that whole division. There's a lot of fans that are loyal, but there's a lot that aren't. They're fair-weathered fans. So enjoy it. All right, we got a quick segment I think we're going to introduce from the last time we did it, when we gave a top 5 list. But this time, let's have a little bit of fun.
Okay.
We'll go back and forth. So you got to think about this. We want to start at 5, and we'll work our way up. And this is an ode to my little brother. When we were younger, we used to play a game where we would just name wrestlers, and we'd go back and forth and back and forth. And I think we got up to 119 one time, and we were able to do it. But who would be your top 5 wrestlers? Now, and what we'll do is we'll do a second part, and it's the top 3 tag teams, because they're separate. You want to do tag teams first?
I don't think I know 3 tag teams.
Well, for me,
I only know 2 tag teams. It's Undertaker and Kane, and then the DX guys.
Yeah, so for me, the number 1 tag team of all time, because I was watching them on TBS when they came through, are the Road Warriors.
Oh, yeah.
Did they change wrestling? They changed tag team wrestling. I think DX, because of what they did as their little group. Now, they weren't really a tag team. They were more of a grouping. For me, number 2 is the Fabulous Freebirds.
I don't know who they are.
You look them up. Oh, okay. Do you remember the movie? Christopher Lambert. He was the Immortal. What was that? That one with Sean Connery and him?
The Immortal?
He was Connor McLeod. Highlander.
Oh.
In the beginning of Highlander, do you remember he was
remember you made me watch that movie, and you said it was one of the greatest movies ever. That movie is terrible.
No, Highlander's a good movie.
There can be only one.
I wouldn't say it wasn't one of the greatest. It's not a cinematic.
It didn't hold up.
The one today I'm going to talk is about one of the greatest. But if it's for pure entertainment, and when I was younger, they used to, at the movie theater, they used to play Rocky Horror Picture Show every Saturday night, and people would go goofy on that. I watched that one time. And then they would play Highlander in the other theater because people would quote it. But in the beginning of that, there's a scene where they're at Madison Square Garden watching a wrestling match. Mm-hmm. These were the Southern boys that would come in. Michael Hayes had the long blonde hair, and he'd walk like this. And Barry Gordy, was it Barry Gordy? Just a big country boy, was wrestling professionally when he was like 16. And then, they put in Ronnie Garvin's brother, because Ronnie Garvin had the Stones, but Jimmy Garvin, I think, was in there, and he was the second one in. But they were pretty good. And then for number 3, the one with Ron Simmons and JBL, what were they called? Yeah, wrestling fans would give me a geek out on me, but that's who they were. Who do you have?
I only have 2.
Yeah.
I only know 2 tag teams.
All right, who are they?
This is the Undertaker and Kane.
And Kane. They're Brothers of Destruction, right?
Yeah, and then DX.
Okay, because the Undertaker was with Dan Spivey before, and they were the Skyscrapers or something before he ends up coming to the WWE. He used to walk the top rope and drop an elbow off the top rope. So he'd get up in the corner. He'd only take 2 steps because he'd start falling forward, and then he'd drop the elbow. But that is a perfect roll-in to the top 5 of all time. Everyone will say The Rock, Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, of course. For me, Ric Flair's number 1. The Undertaker. I think Undertaker's on the top 5 list, without a doubt.
I'll give you my top 5.
The question becomes, do you take The Rock or do you take Stone Cold?
My fifth
Because
place.
it's not John Cena.
My fifth place is John Cena. My fourth place is The Undertaker. My third place is Stone Cold Steve Austin. My second place is Andre the Giant.
Okay.
And then my first place is Hulk Hogan.
Okay.
Just based off of what they did for
Yeah.
the promotion.
Well, I got no. I don't. I'm
And
not-
I hate The Rock. I don't respect him.
Yeah. Well, for a wrestler though, he did a pretty good job. So for me, I like the Undertaker's on there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I also like Ric Flair. He's on there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think you got to go with. I think you got to go with Stone Cold because he was the head of that Attitude Era. I like Shawn Michaels.
Better than Triple H?
Yeah, but here's my problem: is it Shawn Michaels or is it Andre? I'm not sure. You know, I like the old guys like Junkyard Dog, Jimmy Superfly Snuka.
What do you remember more than Hulk Hogan suplexing Andre the Giant?
Yeah, but do you really think if Andre didn't want that to happen, it wouldn't have happened?
Oh, in the documentary, they talked about it. He let it happen. He
Yeah.
told him to do it. And this was after a back surgery, and he still told him to do it.
Right. Well, one of my top 5 is...
You know why he was so tall? Is he had a tumor.
Well, he
that-
got adrenal gland.
He
tumor
had,
on his adrenal
he had a
gland.
tumor that would consistently produce human growth hormone, and he didn't want anyone to take it out.
Right. No, there's a lot of people like that. So for me, my other top 5, so I'll go number 5 for me. I'll put Andre in there, not a problem. Number 4, I'll put Steve Austin in there. I like Roddy Piper.
Mm-hmm.
Roddy Piper. And then Ric Flair's number 1. And who else did I say earlier? I forgot already.
Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, but there was somebody else. I'll go with Shawn Michaels right now. I'll come around to somebody else. But, you know, they're all entertaining. They're all millionaires. They all got broken bodies. But it was interesting watching. Lesnar's okay. I'm not a big fan of John Cena because I always thought it was stupid when you can't see me stuff.
Well, I think I said this in an earlier episode, but he's the harbinger of death for Make-A-Wish kids.
Yeah, I know. That's unfortunate.
You know who is an honorable mention?
Who's that?
Randy Orton.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Randy Orton. And he's...
Just because of the RKO.
He's second generation, right? Or third generation.
All of the videos and jokes that I've been produced because of that RKO.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny watching that.
I think there have been more RKO videos than Suck It videos.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. The only thing that's better because the RKA videos are visual.
Yeah.
And you're running in there and they're playing the music. The only one better than that is the crank calls with John Cena.
Yeah, when they crank
This
call
is John Cena.
when they crank call that woman, and she's like, "We're not having wrestling in this house anymore."
Like 10 times they did it.
And then by the end of it, she's like, Who are you? Who? Stop that! I want to know who I'm talking.
Yeah. Now Hulk Hogan did a lot.
She goes, one of the calls, do you support the military? Yes. Oh my gosh, I do. Well, we have a former U.S. Marine who's going to be at WWE Super Slam, and his name is John Cena. She's like, oh, hangs up the phone.
I think Hogan did a lot for wrestling, but the thing that reminds me the most of the one I got the most pleasure out of Hulk Hogan was Rocky III when he played Thunderlips. Thunderlips in the flesh, baby. So you don't remember that scene?
I remember it, but that's such a dumb name.
Throw him in there. I know, but you know that's the intent. These wrestlers
Thunderlips.
That Thunderlips, man. He had his pip hat on. And he had his coat, and he was flanked by. I want to make
a joke about a heavyset woman called Thunderlips, but I'm gonna refrain.
Yeah, refrain from that. So that's our list. Say what it's worth. I'm sure we'll get a whole bunch of people complaining that we didn't pick up enough older guys like a Harley Race.
We need people to watch this before we
or
get
one
complaints.
of the Von Erichs or something to that effect. But it all depends on where you're from. I mean, I could go on forever with this stuff, but that's just interesting. All right, well, what do you want to talk about? Because we seem to be moving quick today, so this might be a much shorter one. Either that, or we do an addition in the end and splice in a guest or another segment.
No, I mean we're halfway done. We could keep talking.
Well, we're more than halfway done.
You wanted to talk about video games. We can compare and contrast old video games to new ones.
Dude, I don't play new ones. The only new ones I play is Golden Tee, which was a disaster yesterday because we were on a shit machine. and you threw your back out, and
I
somebody
did.
slapped you in your back.
Yeah, so we went to a different brewery yesterday to practice because I threw my back out and I didn't
But it's
want to.
also because you put in the $15 or $10
Yeah, I spent
to
like
get.
$10 to buy clubs and balls, and I wanted to go to a different brewery to practice and get used to them. And then lo and behold, at that brewery was the same guy who invited us.
Who had told us we were supposed to be at the other one?
So I said, "Hey man, what's going on? Why are you here?" He goes, "Well, me and my friends, we know the guy who's singing, so we decided to come here instead."
All right, we'll be there next week.
I go, "Okay, so good thing we didn't go." But I'm in line to get a beer, and he comes up behind me and he starts talking to me, and over the span of 5 minutes, he hits me right in the part of my back that had been spasming for the past 4 days. So he's talking to me, he hits me, and I go, "Yeah." Just atrocious.
Yeah, you've been on a heating pad
And
for 4 days.
I have. And we played this Oasis course. Shit, man. I think I was -1 when we were done, and you were -3.
Yeah, we weren't doing well.
No, it was.
But you were trying your clubs. You were trying to shoot over trees. I kept going in the water.
We both kept going in the
But
water.
the wind kept changing on us. But it's real heavy wind too. But I think it's because you were playing on a profile, so that the game's a
You
little
think
bit
the
different.
game's harder
Yeah,
if you're on a
yeah,
profile?
they casual. Yeah, for sure they casual. But it is what it is. We'll go from there. Now one of the other things we wanted to bring up to date is the shit show in L.A. It is deplorable the way that government, the local, the city, the county, the municipal, the state, let that happen. The more we watch it, they had fire warnings out. They weren't pre-staged. It was a total disgrace. So
Remember when you were a child and you looked up to adults and thought they were smart and knew what was going on? And now you're an adult and you think, why is everyone so stupid?
yeah, well, here's the thing. What has happened there has galvanized everybody, and I think has brought everybody back around and said, "What the hell's going on?" Liberal, Democrat, Republican, conservative, it doesn't matter out there right now. Everybody's like, "This is bullshit. How does this happen?" And the mayor, Mayor Bass, and the Governor Newsom, they should be gone, fired, and I'd be surprised if there's not lawsuits. I saw an article today. I'll have to read it. I only saw the headline. Judge Judy's son is telling everybody that they should be suing the government for what happened.
That's funny. It's a family affair.
But the bad part is, Alec, and this is the same shit that went on in Maui, right? You get people that's houses have burned down,
Yeah.
who didn't have insurance, and the reason they canceled their insurance is that California only lets you raise premiums so far, so they couldn't do it.
It's funny.
And now the speculators
It's
are
funny
doing shit.
you mentioned, yeah, and I'll talk about that in my bitch of the week. But it's funny you mentioned Maui because I saw somewhere there was an estimate that they could fix all of Maui for $4.8 billion. Oh, but we also misplaced $6.3 billion in funding for Ukraine.
Well, no, it's not misplaced. It's been absconded.
Yeah.
Somebody is gone in their pockets. What bothers me is the devastation. I've seen strips of Malibu. Everything's gone.
Mm-hmm.
There's only a couple of houses that are left, and it's interesting because they have, I was watching it. They have 4 or 5 times the thickness of the windows because normally when the heat comes in, the glass breaks and the flames get in.
Melts.
Or embers come in through the vents. And this one house that stood, they have this new system where there's only one real small thing to cool the house so no embers could get in. And whether they do it with fireproof material or hemp bricks, because hemp bricks and other stuff
You would
are
think hemp
very
would be
retardant.
flammable.
No, the way they make it is extremely retardant. Fire retardant, not retarded.
I know.
Retardant.
But hemp bricks are also a good thing because they're porous. Most of the reason why marijuana was banned was because the tobacco lobbyists thought it conflicted with their business.
Yeah, and I'm not sure about that. I'm sure there's stories behind that. What was the Reefer Madness? It was a good one.
There was the Dare commercials. This is your brain on
No,
drugs.
the old Reefer Madness was a movie from the 30s. And
Oh, yeah, I heard
and
about
Rogan
that.
talked about this before because they called it marijuana because before it used to be called Mexican cigarettes.
Yeah.
And then they called it marijuana. And that was the name change 30, 40 years ago, and they classified it. One other thing on health. the federal government has finally banned red dye number 3 in
30.
food products.
Red 30.
I thought it was 3.
30.
Yeah, I'll bet you $1.
Okay.
Okay, we'll bet $1. But the bottom line is they banned it in female cosmetics, primarily red lipstick, back in the early mid-70s. At that time, they knew it was still poisonous, and it sat in our foods for 50 years. Now, I heard a lady say the reason why that happened is that there was an alliance between the alcohol associations, so the alcohol lobbyists, and the maraschino cherries companies. So those are the little red cherries that are always at the bar. They're filled with the red dye, and it gives them a unique taste. And the reason the liquor lobby supported it, because when you're in a bar and you're eating those, it makes you drink more.
Yeah.
So
they already,
again, the government sold us for 50 years. So that's why I'm glad RFK's coming.
They dye fruit that's already red.
Yeah, but have you not seen the maraschino cherry?
They look a little caramelized.
Yeah. But so hopefully you guys will do some research. That's why I can't wait for RFK to get in here on as soon as he gets confirmed.
With the exception of probably this upcoming
RFK Jr.,
this upcoming administration, the unelected politicians and the unelected bureaucrats that are faceless and nameless, you really think they have your best interests at heart? No, they make government salaries and they're easily bribed.
They're not. I don't know about all that, but what I do know is with the new administration coming in, there was an article that 3 senior officials at the State Department were told to leave, career folks, saying you should leave. The FBI reversed its DEI initiative, like last week, because I got a feeling it changes on Monday. So
speaking of,
hold on a second, and that's one of the problems I have with what's going on this week. Joe Biden says there's a new 28th Amendment, which is Equal Right Amendment, which I got no problem with. But even the Supreme Court says there's a methodology. You have to have a certain amount of states vote by a deadline. Virginia was the last one in, and that put them over to 38, which would get them to be able to get it ratified. But they didn't come on board until after the timeline. So Biden arbitrarily says we have the amendment, and the National Archivist says, we're not going to recognize your comments. It didn't follow the process. It's not law. You can't just say it's a law.
Yeah.
So all this kind of nonsense that's been done in the last week, he's going to go down as the president who gave the most pardons and commutations, and there's still pardons to go.
Did you see he gave George Soros the Presidential Medal of Honor?
Yeah.
George Soros, the guy that shorted Argentina.
And Bloomberg, too.
Yeah.
So,
and Hillary Clinton.
Yeah. So here's the funny thing. So during, was it the guy from the Treasury? One of Trump's nominees, while he was being grilled, one of the Democratic senators said that, do you not fear that the government's getting too close to these big tech giants and there's a oligarchy that's coming? And, he pointed out Zuckerberg and Elon.
Oh, you mean when the government
Bezos
told Facebook to censor things?
And then what the nominee guy said, I forgot. He was quite eloquent.
See the guy with the cross tattoo?
No, Alec, please let me finish. He was quite eloquent in what he said, and he said, you mean like the presumed oligarchy that you have because Biden gave the Medal of Freedom to
George Soros?
Soros and to Bloomberg? And then it just shut it down.
No follow-up.
Yeah, so,
I reclaim my time.
And this is the thing that gets me going. The partisanism in the government today with the Democrats and the Republicans, this just got to stop.
Yeah.
It just bothered me that they actually had only 2 Democrats out of 160 swung on the vote that if an illegal alien gets arrested
for a violent crime.
No, this was sex crimes.
Oh.
Any type of sex crimes against a woman, against a man, or against a child, that they are immediately deported. Arrested, deported, and banned to coming back. 158 Democrats said no.
Because that's their constituency.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, the other
I think that they're too geared on the politics. That's why I kind of like being a libertarian. I lean a little left sometimes, a little right sometimes. But that kind of shit, when you can't take care of those who can't take care of themselves, that goes back to the little rant I had last week about the L.A. stuff. You provide and protect. And you can't do that. If you can't do the basic needs of being a government, somebody else needs to come in and take care of it. And that's why Trump came in heavy and hot.
Speaking of illegal aliens, or as other people like to call them, undocumented migrants.
Yeah,
Did you see
still
how
illegal alien?
Did you see how there? I think we were talking about this. There's been an ongoing mass, voluntary self-deportation.
And we said, why was that?
I believe you said it was because if they can get out now, they're not going to be blacklisted when they're deported, so they can
Exactly.
always come back in.
You get deported, you can't come back in. They're going to deport people that are illegals, and you're never coming back in. They'll fingerprint you, and it's not going to happen.
A lot of them turn up homeless too. I've been watching documentaries.
But it's unfortunate.
These
Listen,
guys steal from stores and then they have their own little open air markets
Yeah.
where they're selling
Well,
stuff,
here's
and then
the-
they send the money back to
here's
their
the
family
problem.
members.
Look, I got no problems with anybody who wants to better themselves. I just look, we're a sovereign nation, and one of the big things about a sovereign nation is to ensure your borders are tight, so you can control what's coming in. I don't give a shit how many people want to migrate here for all the right reasons. I just want them to follow the rules.
Yeah, and
You know,
some
and,
could
and that's
say
what bothers me.
some could say the system is bogged down and takes too much time, but
Well, then we need to hire
but then
more
you can
people to
reform
handle
the
it,
system. The
or we have to
solution
reduce the amount of people coming in.
the solution is not migrant caravans.
Yeah. So we need to be better at what we do. We're the richest country in the world, or we used to be. We have the best ingenuity. We can solve all these problems. This kind of nonsense has got to stop.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Well, hold on. There was something you mentioned on the car ride over that I think you should speak to.
What's that?
It piqued my interest when you said they
Oh,
revoked the DEI stuff in
Yeah, I
the
got
government.
it. You want me to do it?
But you want to talk about what Starbucks law was
Oh no.
thing was recently revoked?
Yeah, Starbucks actually had that anybody's welcome to use our bathroom or just hang out, whether you're paying or not. That has since now been revoked. You have to be a paying customer to come in there and to use the facilities, and they're training their people on how to eloquently address people that shouldn't be there anymore, and or how to call the police.
So how funny is that? Baristas are becoming what is it? Not a crisis. It's a who are the people
Well,
that
crisis counselors are their
who
intervention
are the
experts.
people? All those ACAB people said they should send instead of cops. The social service people.
Social service people.
So baristas are now becoming social services.
Yeah, and that's just a shit show. I'm surprised they went that way, but they're coming back around. I thought the other thing you wanted me to talk about is when I was taking a modern version on Johnny Cochran's theme when he was defending O.J. Simpson, and he said if the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. And my issue is, and although, listen, we're in our house, so I got no problem with this, but the dress code today with young men is deplorable when they go out in public.
And it's gross with young women.
Well, let me get to that. The men look like bums. So listen, when you guys go outside, wear a nice pair of blue jeans and a pair of shoes or something, because this is how easy it is to stand out as the top 10%. What bothers me, and I was telling him, I graduated high school in 1985. If from 1978 to 1985, any young lady in middle school or high school came to school in the yoga pants that these girls are wearing now, they would have been kicked out of
Did
school.
they even have yoga pants back then?
No, absolutely not. But if you wore anything like that, they would tell you cover up and leave. And now it's deplorable. But this was my complaint. And don't rant on the younger folks. That's the parents' fault.
I just want to
for
rant
letting
on
them
the
get
yoga
away.
pants. They have yoga pants now where they have an inseam. They have a butt crack in the yoga pants
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
accentuate
to
the
lift
butt
and
more.
separate and stuff.
Like
So
the ruffled ones?
listen,
You're wearing a pirate shirt on your butt?
more power to you. If you got to flaunt it, but understand where you should and where you shouldn't, because that's what style and taste and class is about.
Sure.
But what bothers me, listen, ladies, I hate to pick on you, but if you're a big gal over 25 BMI, stop fucking wearing yoga pants out in public and super tight ones. Come on now.
Especially the ones like the 40-year-old. It's almost always white women.
With the big,
With the big belly, and then they tuck it into their belly.
I've seen sisters wear it, but they're usually not wearing the black. They got like a nice pink.
No, they
or a
got the
purple.
juicy or the
Yeah.
pink ones with
So-
pink on their butt.
Let's have a little decorum, people, men and women, but primarily women. You know, leave a little of the imagination. We don't need to see
Especially
that shit.
high schoolers and especially in the gym. High school boys now, they have haircuts that looks akin to broccoli, and they wear pajama pants.
They look like Sideshow Bob.
Yeah.
Right?
They do.
I mean, they look like Sideshow Bob with their haircuts.
Why are you getting
and
a
if you guys
perm
don't know
like
who that
that?
is, go watch The Simpsons. You know who I'm talking about. It's the same hairdo that Pat Mahomes has.
Yeah,
or Patrick Mahomes has,
his
as his mom
wife
says.
is insufferable.
Yeah,
His
well,
wife and his brother posting TikToks. Hey, go Patrick!
Yeah, the brother is supposedly trouble, but such is life. So that's our rants for this week. Okay, so what we're going to go now is we're going to go into the movies. I will let you go first because I think yours this week is a good one. I didn't know about it till you told me to watch it, and
We
I
watched
like
it together in the
Yeah,
basement.
I like it.
So my movie is V for Vendetta. It's where that Guy Fawkes anonymous mask comes from with the goatee. But the most infamous line is "Remember, remember the 5th of November," because there's some.
But everybody does that. Like on May the 4th, so on May 4th is always
May the
Star
4th
Wars.
be with you.
And then on this one is November 5th. So everybody, says that. Or on 420.
But that's a good one. I really recommend it. It's got a really good story. Natalie Portman was in her prime during that movie. She actually looked pretty cute with a bald head. Remember, she shaved her head.
No, she's an attractive gal.
So V for Vendetta. Check it
All right.
out.
So again, I'm going to give you two, but these are good history movies. And it's a World War I movie and a World War II movie. So the first one I'm going to give you is Lawrence of Arabia with Peter O'Toole. And he talks about how he unified the Bedouins and the Arabs in the Levant against the Ottoman Empire, and then what happened after the war and how they split it. It's a great story. And the other one is The Bridge Over the River Kwai. It's about these British guys and some Americans at a POW camp in Japan.
You sure that wasn't Vietnam?
Dude, it's World War II. It's the Japanese.
Okay.
100% guaranteed.
All right.
And they had to build a railroad and a bridge, and Alex Guinness was the head Allied commander, and he took great pride, and they built a great bridge. And then I think it's Gregory Peck. I don't remember who it is. Had to come in with the commandos and blow it up. So it's a movie worth watching.
So if we're talking war movies, it makes me want to mention the new All Quiet on the Western Front.
I haven't seen the new
1918.
That one's that's not All Quiet on the Western Front. That's totally
that's
different.
a whole different one.
Yeah.
But that one's good.
And
there's
the
a lot.
The new Dunkirk one was
Dunkirk
pretty good.
was good. We could have a whole segment on war
maybe
movies.
next week what we'll do is
We'll
we'll
talk
do
about war
our
movies.
top 10 war movies, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
All
Anymore?
right.
Can I talk about some of the SEAL movies? Because some of those are really good.
Zero Dark 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. It doesn't matter.
Oh,
Well,
that reminds me of my book.
what's that?
It's not The Prince. It was what you just said. But Machiavelli, The Prince, is good too because that teaches negotiation tactics and how diplomacy. So and it's only 80 pages long.
Every man should read The Prince. That's where the phrase "the end justifies the means." So there's some things in there that are interesting for you, but it's a classic, and it's one of the first business self-help type books because it gives you a code or gives you an explanation. Now, my book is The Looming Tower, Al Qaeda and the Road to 9/11, and it talks about the Muslim Brotherhood, how it gets to Al Qaeda, what the CIA was doing, what the FBI was doing, and how we didn't talk to each other. It is a book worth reading. It is.
Camera just turned off. That's fun.
We run out of juice?
I guess.
I thought you just charged it.
It was fully charged.
All right, well, we're back again. We had a small continuity error.
Yeah, camera died.
Went out again. But that's okay. It's going to help me finish my last segment.
You want to turn that timer on?
Nah, we're okay. We know what we got to do.
All right.
So the next section is
Books.
You want to go first?
Sure.
Because you got a good one.
Yeah, my book is Zero Dark 30. It is about the raid the Navy SEALs conducted on the Osama bin Laden compound. It was later adapted into a movie that only had 8 minutes of showing the compound raid and another hour and a half of a lady CIA agent saying, we found him, we need to take him out.
Yeah.
Which is why I think the book is better than the movie. But it's a really great book, and if you're into war,
It's
or
good stealth.
Navy
It's
SEALs,
good. You know, they
Yeah.
did good detective work.
you know, the Geneva Convention tried to outlaw night vision goggles because they said it was cheating.
Oh well.
Sorry.
I'll
Now they all have it in Afghanistan now
Yeah.
because we left our nods behind.
Well, I listened to a guy today on one of the podcasts, and he said the inferior mind will always challenge the superior mind and state that they are cheating when they do not win.
Yes.
So it's interesting.
Well, dude,
So keep that in mind.
shotguns were outlawed in World War One because they were so ferocious in trench warfare.
Yeah, they didn't give a shit about mustard gas. But
No.
they got rid of shot. Yeah,
They cared about chemical weapons
yeah,
after World War Two.
No, chemical weapons were banned after World War One. But
I guess the Nazis didn't tell anybody about Cyclone B.
yeah, I don't, well, no, they were banned. But if you're in war, why are you going to follow the rules?
Exactly.
Right.
That's
now,
a good point.
We do.
Because we're the good guys.
Well, there you go. And yeah, that's it.
Good guys
All right,
play by the rules. Bad
speaking
guys do
Speaking
not.
about good guys, my book recommendation this week is Looming Tower. So it talks about the creation of the Muslim Brotherhood, and then how it went into Al Qaeda and so forth. And it also talked about what the CIA knew, what the FBI knew, and the failure between the two in communicating. It's a really good, compelling story. So take a look at it. It's very interesting and historic, and it gives you a different perspective. Okay. Now I'm going to add one more thing, and then we'll close out.
Rick?
We're going to put in, at least I will. We'll see if Alec plays along. He's more songs than albums, but I have it on right now. It's Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon.
Well, I'd give you an album.
So if you guys want a good one to listen to, that would be it. What do you got? You looking it up?
Yeah. So one of my.
He's in the box. Don't worry about it. He's not.
Yeah, but there's stuff in that box.
We'll be done.
We need a Indiana has given me way too much stress these past couple episodes. He's chilling right now on a box filled with ornaments.
Ornaments, yeah.
But in future reference, for my own sanity, can we only let the dogs down here?
That's fair enough.
Because one of the cats sat on the laptop. Now the cat's in a box. It's absurd.
All right.
But
So
one
what's
of
your
my
album?
favorite songs is because I heard it in, I think, the Borderlands 2 trailer.
Yeah. What is it?
Remember that Borderlands movie? How bad that
That's
sucked?
terrible.
But the song "Ain't No Rest for the Wicked."
Yeah.
No, ain't no rest for the wicked.
Who is that?
Money doesn't grow on trees.
The elephant or something?
That's Cage the Elephant.
Cage the elephant.
You see this?
Yeah.
Come on, come on, get out of here. Go away, get off.
Yeah, just so you know, he's almost stepped on the keyboards and shut us off for another continuity change.
So, it's by the band Cage the Elephant. It's from their first album, which is also called Cage the Elephant, because
Okay.
most bands, their first album is the
Yeah.
band name.
Self-titled.
But Ain't No Rest for the Wicked, I could sing that entire song. Cage the Elephant's also good, just for feeling solemn.
Okay.
I remember walking around UVA campus smoking cigarettes, just listening to Cage the Elephant. You're like, oh, my life's so hard.
Yeah.
Around midterms.
Yeah, well, because you didn't study all semester. And then you give yourself anxiety.
I plead
but-
fifth.
There you go. All right, listen, we're going to end up going into the Bitch of the Week segment. I had somebody pick, but out of the continuity break while the camera was charging, we just went upstairs and watched at least to the last minute of the Kansas City game with the Texans. And I don't know who's worse, the offensive line coach or Jeremy Tunsil, the left tackle that keeps letting people come over him and taking the wrong blocking assignment.
He's a Pro Bowler.
But he is. He's one of the top 5 left tackles in football. But I'm going to give it to the offensive line coach.
And that's protecting the blind side, too.
They gave up 8 sacks in a game. And aside from Caleb Williams with the Bears, who got creamed this year, C.J. Stroud got sacked the second most. So it's been happening all year. It's look, man. You gotta win in the lines, and you gotta protect your quarterback.
They got a shot too, because when we went up there, it was
13-12.
13.
Yeah, while we were down here.
And now
so
what is 23?
offensive line coach? I don't know his name. I'll call him out next week.
You're such a bitch. We didn't even bother learning your name.
Yeah, there you go. I was so disgusted. I'm like, this is horrific. And their head coach, DeMarco Ryan, he's great. But he's going to have to fire that offensive line coach. All right. Well, before we close out, who's yours?
Mine is one of the 3 conglomerates that owns almost everything.
Yeah.
If you had to guess between State Street, Vanguard, or BlackRock, who do you think's on the hot seat this time?
Well, whoever's leading the way and trying to purchase
Yeah,
land
so
from
you're getting ahead of yourself. But my
homeowners
bitch of the
whose
week
shit's all been burned down.
bitch of the week is BlackRock because they are contracting realtors to reach out to victims of the Los Angeles wildfire to ask them
before they can even get back and look,
Right.
or the fire stop.
because they got people canvassing to see which houses are and are not affected.
Yeah, and
But
who's got
they're-
insurance and
Yeah,
who doesn't.
they're targeting. They're employing lawyers to target people who lost their house in a national crisis where they're only going to get $750 from the government, and they're asking them if they want to sell their land, so BlackRock can own more land.
Yeah.
There's this whole conspiracy that BlackRock is buying up single-family homes because of the notion that you'll own nothing and be happy.
But that's because
So they're taking everything up and they're renting it all out.
maybe somebody in there is part of the Fergazes or the Rothschilds or the Borgias or the powerful elite globalists, huh?
You don't think people that work at BlackRock are part of the Bilderberg Group? You don't think they go to that thing Alex Jones crashed in the forest,
What?
the Bohemian Grove?
I don't know what
You
you're
don't
talking
think
about.
people from BlackRock go to... So Bohemian Grove is where the elites go to sacrifice a child effigy. It's real. Look it up.
Okay.
And they also worship Moloch, the owl god.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, but
These are the
So-
people that run our country,
so
folks.
it's funny you said that. I went to pick him up the other day, and I was listening to the highlights of Howard Stern, and they have this. They do these puppets. So they had the Alex Jones puppet, and that was one.
Turn the
of
freaking frog game.
that was one of the things he was saying, that the global elitists worship at the feet of the owl god Moloch or something.
It's true.
So it was funny.
He is. I used to listen to him in high school just because of his shock value,
Yeah.
or in college just because of his shock value. He's right about more things than he's wrong, but
He's catastrophically wrong. on
He's
shit.
he's a sensationalist, and one of my favorite things is he goes, "The people that control our country are interdimensional vampiric pedophiles who drink the adrenochrome from their baby.
And so I know one
They're
last
eating
thing.
babies."
One last thing, and I'll close it out. The best picture I saw all week was a side profile of Gavin Newsom, and on the outskirts of the face, it was like pinned back to the back of his head, and it showed his reptilian face on the side.
Dude, did you?
So I thought that was funny.
Speaking of good pictures, did you see the recent picture of Big Mike?
Who's Big Mike?
Michelle Obama?
Look, I don't want to talk about that.
No, she just looks like shit. Let me show you.
Well, I don't know. If she came to the inauguration, we would have found out. But Kid Rock took care of that, and Barack, President Obama addressed that. So,
I can't find it. She just
all
looks
right.
great.
Well, we're gonna close
look
out.
very disheveled.
It's the end of episode 5. We appreciate your guys' time. Thank you. You dork.
Very nice.
What are you, some kind of dog?
Very nice.
Disclaimer for Generations Unplugged with Big Kel and Kahuna. This is a podcast created for informational and entertainment purposes only. The views expressed in this podcast reflect the personal experiences and opinions of the hosts and guests. Topics like health, fitness, financial well-being, and personal development are discussed based on individual perspectives and are not intended as professional medical, financial, or psychological advice. Listeners are encouraged to consult with qualified professionals before making decisions related to health, lifestyle, or finances. Each person's journey is unique, and results may vary. The creators of Generations Unplugged disclaim any liability for actions taken based on the content of this podcast. Remember, informed decisions and expert guidance are key to building a fulfilling and balanced life.
Big Kel
Kel
and Kahuna
and Kahuna
podcast.
podcast. Mwah. For sure.